Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this meditation workshop. So I think today's title is Joyous Appreciation of Our Life and Death. So we have a morning session and afternoon session, a lunch break in between. And usually when I do such workshops, then I will have, today probably we'll do two guided meditation per session. And I usually I'll give some explanation, and then I'll guide the meditation. And in between, there's time. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, you're most welcome to raise it. So the topic we are going to explore today is, I call it joyous appreciation of our life and death. So there's life and there's death, right? So morning is about life. I think it's nice and bright and shiny, and then we can explore our life. And the afternoon, mostly people just fall asleep, and sort of like but a good time to think about death. Yeah. So joyous appreciation is because I find that so often in my own spiritual practice or in my Dharma practice, one of the things that is least mentioned, often not mentioned, is the quality of joy, or enjoyment. It's almost as if you're destined to suffer. You start on a spiritual practice, or people will come up with ideas like no pain, no gain. So you sort of set yourself up to experience pain, or. But I thought actually we can look at spiritual practice, even living our life from a different perspective. We can also explore a little bit the role of joy has to play in our life. So wonderful thing, isn't it? Coming from a confirmed pessimist, I thought that is not that's quite an accomplishment already. So after all, I always joke about, if you ever tell me your brilliant idea or your latest project, although I never say anything, but in my mind, it's almost like suddenly there's just automatically all by itself. I will start to think, what would be the worst case scenario for this project or for this idea, But that's how my mind works. My mind starts from the most negative and works its way slowly to the positive, to the light. You start from the darkness and you work your way to the light. Sounds much nicer, isn't it? Then you start from the light and work your way down to the darkness. That would be really miserable. But my idea is, I think we need to appreciate the role of joy in our spiritual practice and also in our daily life. By joy, I mean something quite light. I don't necessarily mean bliss or ecstasy or some kind of ginormous kind of overwhelming experience. I'm looking for something much smaller, much more mundane, but nonetheless could have a transformative effect both on our life, but also on our spiritual practice. And today we're going to look at joy in relation to both life and death. So let's start with life, our life. And so we're going to look at this topic especially in Tibetan Buddhist teaching. It's called appreciating our precious human rebirth. Rebirth because after all, this comes from Buddhism, and Buddhism believes in that we all have multiple lifetimes, we have multiple lives. So, but you can also think of it as appreciating our precious human life, this particular life that we now have, and we now enjoy. And in relation to this, there are actually two main points to reflect on. So the meditation I'll be guiding you will be invite you to reflect on these two main points related to our life. One of them is to appreciate how precious it is, to appreciate something very concrete, not something abstract, not this thing of our life in some vague way and think, oh yes, it's very valuable, I'm glad that I'm still alive. But instead to look at the details of this life. Because what makes this life of ours precious? There are many things. Yeah? One of them is truly unique. My life and your life are different. And even among siblings or even among twins, they're also different. Each one of us has a unique life because of the conditions. We bring different conditions, we encounter different experiences, we are changed by those experiences. Yeah. And in some way, I quite like it when I came across someone describe our life as every moment of our life as unrepeatable. It's like once you have it and then it passes, we cannot go back. We cannot repeat it. Something that cannot be repeated is definitely truly unique. Right? No one can replicate it. Not even myself. I cannot replicate a past experience exactly. I might have similar experiences, but I can never replicate it exactly because the causes and conditions have changed. So there's something to appreciate about all those individual moments or episodes in our life. They are so unique, so unrepeatable, unique to ourselves. And also among all those different experiences, different moments, some of them are truly wonderful. They may not be anything grand or anything spectacular, but after all, this is our life. We don't have to worry about what other people think about it. It's not about we're not going for a vote or polling. We don't need to know what other people think about our life and how they view our life. It's more important for us to know how we view our own life, and are we able to appreciate all the many different qualities of ourselves, all the many different unique experiences that we have, the interactions we have with others, the relationships, our adventures in life, even our mistakes in life sometimes. And the whole idea of thinking about all these different episodes and moments is to see if we can bring forth a heartfelt response in which we really appreciate. We say, "Wow, this is so wonderful." It's like you look into the mirror in the morning and look at your own reflection. You say, "I'm such a wonderful person, and this is such a wonderful life." Yeah, that would be nice, isn't it? Of course, you could be in the danger of becoming a narcissistic or egomaniac, But most of us, that is not to worry about that. But it would be really wonderful if we can embrace our own life experiences in such a positive way, right? Instead of waiting. Quite often, people wait for others to appreciate us, wait for others to have good opinions of us. Yeah, almost like if no one loves us, we are unlovable. If no one's see worth in ourselves, we are unworthy. But I think that is not a good bet. Other people are not as trustworthy as ourselves, so we should do it ourselves first. Well, wonderful if they appreciate us for who we are, but even if they don't, I can appreciate myself. Again, my pessimist side shows. It's just like a fail-safe device. So at the minimum, I am able towards my own life experiences, I'm able to hold it with a sense of what we call appreciative joy. And this is a very positive thing to have because it lightened our relationship with ourselves and with our past also. Yeah, it lighten it bring a sense of buoyancy, a sense of joy and cheerfulness to it. And overall, it actually reinforce a sense of happiness in our life. So this is something quite wonderful to cultivate. And that's what we're going to explore first. Right? So to explore, and I will be in this first meditation, I invite you to look at, to bring to mind different aspects of our life. I leave the field quite broad and open. It could be actual qualities we see in ourselves, so we can recollect those qualities. We can appreciate positive qualities of kindness or compassion, or we may be very generous, or we may find that we really appreciate our own sense of ethical principles. We can appreciate our own intelligence, wisdom, our talents, so to speak. It might sound very shocking to do that. I'm like this, I'm like that. Many years ago, I was studying Buddhist philosophy in Italy. I did this so-called master program within this whole foundation of which this center belongs. It's called FPMT. And midway at the beginning, I need to apply for a scholarship. It's quite expensive. Yeah. So I need to write an application and send it to the head office, international office. It's based in America. So I wrote up, I filled the form, and then you're supposed to write something about yourself. So I did my best, trying to look humble and modest and a very good Buddhist. And then I asked my friend to have a look. I asked my American friend. One of them is a management consultant. So I said, can you have a look at it? Give me some comments so that I would be able to get scholarship. And she said, well, you're sending it to America. And in America, you do not write like this. You start the sentence with I, and you do it throughout the entire, this entire so-called short essay. It's all about me, what I have accomplished, what are my qualities, why I deserve to have this scholarship, and why you really ought to give it to me. I thought, wow, gee, that is such an unbelievable idea to write an entire essay about myself. But I did. Well, I did got a scholarship. I don't know whether it's because of what I wrote or anyway they're going to give it to me. But that opened my mind to sometimes, at least for me, from an Asian background, which have a natural tendency to think that maybe I shouldn't draw too much attention to myself. Maybe I shouldn't focus too much on myself, which is my natural tendency. It's not necessarily a good thing, but nonetheless, it's a kind of a cultural kind of thing. And later I thought about it, and these and other experiences, I thought about it and say, actually, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Just because I reflect on my own qualities, I reflect on my own accomplishments. That's also something you can bring to mind. I reflect on my own life experiences. It's not necessarily a self-centered, egotistical thing. Because after all, I do have those qualities. I do have those accomplishments. I have done something in my life. It's not I didn't do anything at all. Even sleeping is an accomplishment, isn't it? So I slept. Under certain circumstances, you would really appreciate it. If you suffer from long-term insomnia, even just to have a good night's sleep is such an accomplishment. Yeah. So it's all relative. But there are occasions like here at this moment, it is actually a good thing to look back and take some time and sort through one's own different qualities, accomplishment, life experiences, positive. Sometimes it could also be negative one, because negative experiences, we grow through experiencing challenges and difficulties. So what's in the midst of it is really unpleasant, but afterwards looking back, you may recognize that I have grown a lot through those struggles and challenges. I have probably become a better person or a stronger person. Right? So maybe we cannot appreciate the suffering and the pain, but we probably can appreciate the positive growth that come out of it. And why we spend so much time thinking about this? Because what we want to do in this kind of meditation is to see if we can invoke a different kind of response from within ourselves. A lot of us, we carry some very very fixed way of looking at ourselves and our life. These are our habits, our conditionings. And a lot of time they are unconscious. We are not so aware of them, but they have a profound impact on us. Maybe we have a habit of belittling our own accomplishments. We're always dismissing it. Maybe because we are genuinely humble, or maybe because we are taught since young that this is the right thing to do. Now, a habit like this, where we belittle our accomplishment, is not necessarily a helpful thing. Because in a way, we are denying a fact, right? Maybe we have done something well. Why is it wrong to acknowledge that fact? I'm not saying about exaggerating our accomplishments or just blah 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 blah. Just let our mouths go, and just so we are not. I'm just saying to look at the fact and to be able to say, oh well, yeah, I did do that. I did accomplish it. I have gone through this experience. So just the facts, the bare facts, and be able to look at those facts and say, hey, I haven't done so bad. Or hey, that is a wonderful experience that I have had. So that's all I'm asking you to consider. And if we are able to look at mostly through our memories, look at them with a new pair of eyes, we may be able to invoke a very different kind of perspective, very different kind of feelings, and a very different way of regarding our life. And hopefully in this occasion, we might be able to invoke a sense of appreciative joy of our life. And that's the whole point of this first meditation. Okay, and since I'm a pessimist, I don't, just in case it didn't work, just in case you don't feel any joy at all, which is usually my case, especially when I first start practicing this, I don't even know what the heck am I supposed to invoke. What is this joy? What does it look like? So I have a tendency to start out with some support. So I use phrases. I would say to myself, may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. My teacher, when he was teaching this, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he would think, how wonderful this is. Then he would think, how wonderful that is. The whole teaching is all this, how wonderful, how wonderful, how wonderful, how wonderful. When I remember when I was listening to that teaching, in my mind I said, but life isn't that wonderful. At that time, I really genuinely don't think that my life is that wonderful. I thought, gee, I can't say this. It would be insincere, because I don't feel it is so wonderful. So I can't even use this phrase, how wonderful this is. Which is why I come up with my so-called alternative, which does sound a bit lame in a certain sense. May my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. But it resonated with me, because I thought, oh, it's not a bad thing, because I can appreciate I have happiness, and I sincerely hope it will continue, which is what I really want. And I can appreciate my good fortune, maybe far and few in between, but nonetheless, there are moments and there are aspects of good fortune. And say, oh, I don't really want them to go away, isn't it? But this is sincere. That's what I genuinely feel. But after many years of doing this practice, suddenly one day I realized I actually can say, oh, how wonderful this is. I think there used to be this song, I think it's a Coca-Cola commercial ad. What, life is so wonderful or something like that. Yeah. I can't remember. This was when I was very young. I should actually go and dig out the track. Yeah, but it's all about how wonderful life is. It's almost like a celebration of life. And of course, in our modern culture, we only celebrate our life after we are dead, isn't it? People gather and they say, "Oh, we celebrate this person's life." I think that is not a good bet. After all, we're already gone. Maybe we should celebrate our life before we are dead, while we are still alive. Really appreciate it. Is that all right? Have I convinced you that there is a value, to spend 25 minutes and say, oh, how wonderful this is. Or if you can't do it, no problem. You can always fall back on my much more, I don't know why I call it my Victorian phrases. It's much more like, I very hard to convey, but it's just my idea of Victorian England, where people are much more prim and proper, not given to exuberance, expression of emotions. It's not this how wonderful this is. But may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. So what I'm going to invite you to do is, after we settle ourselves into meditation, we take some time to settle into a meditation. There is no hurry. And then we just repeat these phrases. You can choose whichever you want, or you can change the wording. And I usually use the phrase like a mantra. I just say it very slowly. You don't have to say it like with some pause in between. And as I say the phrases, may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. I pause for a while. It's almost like I'm dropping some pebbles into if there's a well in my heart, in my mind. I'm dropping pebbles in and see what happens. Listen for the echo to come from the depth of the well. I'm seeing whether I can trigger and bring forth naturally certain memories, certain awareness, or certain aspects of our mind, or certain incidents in the past. And then I can look at them and say, oh, yeah, I think this is not too bad. No, this is pretty good. And then you can appreciate that and say, oh, may my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Or you can say, oh, how wonderful that is. So I'll just do this. I do it in sort of a random way because sometimes I will be pleasantly surprised by what my mind managed to call forth. Fragments of memories. It usually start off as just an image or just a particular scenery, a scene, and then later when you dwell on it, you elaborate and you recall the incident or episode. And there's also this sort of hidden surprise. I say, oh, I have long forgotten this particular memory, this particular experience, and now they come back to me. So, wow, that is pretty good. Right? So it becomes a discovery, a journey of discovery. Let's do a meditation together. See what happens. Okay, so first step is to find a suitable posture for ourselves. Make sure the posture feels comfortable, supportive. When sitting, make sure that the back feels upright in a natural way. We don't have to tense up the back muscles deliberately to straighten the back. Just allow your body to assume a natural upright position. And you can also lie down, especially if people are tuning in from their own home. Then lying down in the supine position on your back is also a good posture to experiment with. Rest the hands and arms on some kind of physical support. So sitting, you can rest them in the lap, on the knees. We want to support the hands and arms so that we can allow the shoulder muscles and the arm muscles to be relaxed. Feel free to close your eyes completely if you find that helpful. Or if you are used to meditating with your eyes open, then that is also perfectly fine. So take a few moments, just allow our body to adjust and find its way into this meditation posture. Become aware of the sensations coming through at the points of contact between your body and your seat, your body and the ground. See if you can notice that your body is resting on the surface, on the support that feels very firm, solid, and stable. And this will help to reassure our body that it is well supported, well balanced, and safe in this posture. And when our body is reassured in this way, given time, our body can start to loosen up a bit. The body realizes that it does not need to be so tight, so tense, and it can let go of some of those unnecessary contractions and tightenings. And you can really settle down and be comfortable in this meditation posture. So that's the first step, what I call acquiring a seat for our body in meditation. And the second step is to really take some time, take a few minutes to help our body and mind to shift gears, to adjust, to transition into a meditative state, putting aside the different things preoccupying them. So we do that by simply returning our attention here and now to be in touch with our own body, to be in touch with the sensations of the body, to allow into our awareness, our conscious awareness, all the different sensations, simple sensations at the different parts of our body. So let's start at the crown. Not to worry about this taking a long time. It's actually very helpful, very important to really take the time to help the body and mind to adjust, to shift gears. So starting at the crown, the topmost part of your body, see if you can let into your awareness the different sensations here at the crown. Quite subtle sensations. Some of us may sense a bit of a tingling sensations or slight pressure at the crown. Could be warmth or coolness. And could also be no sensation at all. So just notice and be aware. Moving on, allow sensations from our own face to come into awareness. Sensations at the forehead. Are we tensing up the muscles of our forehead? How about the muscles around the eyes and the muscles of the jaw? If we do become aware of tensions here at the face, see if we can gently persuade the facial muscles to relax, to let go, and allow in a different feeling, a feeling of softness into your own face, a sense of ease and comfort. Moving further down, become aware of sensations at the throat, at the neck. We're not looking for anything unusual or spectacular. We're simply awakening simple sensations at the different parts of the body and inviting them to come into awareness. How about the shoulders? How are the shoulders feeling today? Sensations at the top of the shoulders, at the front, at the back of the shoulders, at the shoulder joints. Let our awareness continue down both arms at the same time, becoming aware of sensations in both arms, simple sensations at the upper arms. Feel free to move at your own pace. You don't necessarily have to follow what I'm saying. How about subtle sensations at both elbows? Sensations in the forearms, and all the way down to sensations in both hands. The palm of the hands, the back of the hands, sensations in the fingers. Now that we have awakened the sensation in both arms, see if we can mentally just give permission. Just allow both arms to rest their weight comfortably on the physical support they are on. Coming back to the chest, inviting our attention to come back to the body again and again. Not to worry if we get distracted, which is a totally normal thing for the mind to do. Coming back to the chest, notice the sensations at the chest, the sensations of the in-breath and the out-breath. Moving further down to the abdomen, just see if you can be in touch with sensations here at your abdomen. And moving down to your pelvis, just tune into the sensations at the pelvis. Notice how the weight of the upper body is transmitted via the pelvis onto the seat. And give permission to rest the weight of your pelvis comfortably on the seat, on the support. Moving down both legs at the same time. See if you can allow sensations here to come into your awareness. Sensations starting from the hips down to the knees. Continue at your own pace down to the ankles. And continue into the feet. Be aware of sensations coming through the soles of your feet, the top of the feet, and the sensations in the toes. See if we can rest the weight of both legs comfortably on the floor, on the ground, or whatever supports they are on, and surrender their weight to gravity. Now we have traveled from crown to feet, reconnecting mind with body. See if we can allow the body to continue on its own to unwind, to loosen up, to settle more and more comfortably into the posture. Now that we have taken the time to help body and mind to settle down, to shift gears, we can shift our attention to the main meditation, which is the reflection and the appreciation of our precious human life. We pick a few simple phrases that best convey our understanding of appreciative joy, feeling happy, joyful towards the positive aspects of our own life, to appreciate and be delighted and be glad that we are able to enjoy such good fortune, to be blessed with such positive qualities, circumstances in life, opportunities in life. So slowly, mindfully repeat your chosen phrases, phrases such as, may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. May my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. And as we say the phrases and pause in between, see if we can invoke from within our own mind and heart memories of the past or ideas and awareness of the present. Highlight to ourselves anything that you find worthy or precious or valuable. Take your time. You might want to dwell longer at the details of that particular memory. Allow yourself to re-experience it. And at the end of that, see if you can appreciate it. Appreciate for having had it, or you may still be enjoying it by repeating once again your phrases of appreciative joy. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Coming back to the phrases again and again at your own pace. No need to hurry. When we do get distracted, which is a normal thing to happen, just return your attention when you become aware of it to the words and start again. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Welcome into your awareness precious memories of the past, moments of joy or happiness, moments of good fortune, moments of challenges from which we experience positive growth or learning. Just keep the mind open and welcome into your awareness any of these memories. And see if you can appreciate and be joyful. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. So coming back to the words, allow the phrases to help to reorientate your attention and using the words to invoke into your awareness aspects of ourselves that we may have taken for granted or may have forgotten. Now as they come back into awareness, see if we can cherish them, appreciate them. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Coming back to the phrases, slowly, mindfully, sift through the different images and memories that might be triggered, find those that are appropriate, that you are able to appreciate for having had them, or for still enjoying those circumstances. And from the bottom of our hearts, see if we can sincerely rejoice. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. And then finally, let's conclude by looking back at the different, very briefly, the different episodes or qualities, different aspects of our life that we have uncovered for ourselves. See if we can appreciate our entire life along with all the diversity of experiences and qualities, and sincerely, from the bottom of our heart, rejoice in it. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Good to stretch a bit, right? So if you're new to this type of meditation, sometimes we call this analytical meditation, because you sort of involve you thinking, sort of analyzing, and working with thoughts and memories and imaginations. Can be a bit tricky and take a while to figure out how am I going to make it work for myself. But once you get a hang of it, you figure out a way that would be able to. I think of it as a two-way communication, like my mind talking to my conscious mind talking to my unconscious aspect of myself, or subconscious aspect. Because we hold so many things, so much of the things that we hold, or that we influencing us or impacting us outside of our conscious awareness. But nonetheless, they're very real. The conditioning, the past conditioning, the kind of views or opinions or beliefs that we all have, those are like submerged, beyond conscious awareness most of the time. But nonetheless, they are constantly impacting us. And this kind of analytical meditation is a good one to uncover some of the stuff that is underwater, so to speak. And those that are helpful and beneficial, conducive to happiness, we can nurture them. And those that are not so helpful, then we might want to diminish their impact on us. So, is there any questions or comments up to this point? Yeah.
I was listening to a program some time ago, it's mental health on the radio, and Jeff Kennett, he was the founder of Beyond, and he said basically there are two things that are important in mental illness, and that's having an appreciation of your life, waking up, saying I'm alive, and the other thing was service. So those two things.
So the one thing is appreciation of our life, and the second one is service. Service. So, and he found these two helpful in prevention of depression, or in
particularly they were things that he found, found Beyond Blue. Yeah.
So they do emphasize this in the Beyond Blue sort of in their work and intervention. You notice, so appreciation of our life is towards ourselves. We do it. Service is usually extended to others. So self and others are, in a way, engaged with in a very positive way. Because I suppose in the state of clinical depression, we have a kind of the way we think when we are in the midst of an episode of depression is not the way we normally think. It's sort of like the mind is sort of a bit, the perspective has been distorted. So we may highlight a lot of the negative aspect of self, and we may find it very difficult to think beyond ourselves to others. So it's almost like the thought becomes a kind of a trap, trapping our attention in a very negative way. So so I think it's really important. It might be a bit odd at first. It may feel like, me with how wonderful it is, or how wonderful life is. At first encounter, you feel like, gee, this is so not me. I can't do this. I don't feel for it. But which is fine. I'm not forced. We should no need to force ourselves. But sometimes it's good to just allow ourselves to keep an open mind, to explore, and to discover maybe, hey, I actually can see things from a different angle. I notice other things. I can even feel differently. So there's. So this is just one aspect of this topic, appreciating our precious human life, is to look back and take another look at our life, both the past and the present, and appreciate what we have. And hopefully, maybe not in one session like today, but after we do it for a while, you actually comes to value your life. You can feel, hey, it's not so bad after all. It's quite pretty good. After all, that's the only one you have. And also, no one has, as I said, it's unique. Nobody has it quite like yours. So at least you can claim it's unique, and no one can fault you because they can't possibly have something exactly like yours. And hopefully, part of this whole idea of appreciation is to see as something very precious, very special, even if it's just for yourself, towards yourself. And the second question in this topic actually is to ask ourselves, what would I want to do with this precious human life of mine? What would I want to, or wish, or hope to come out of it? It's almost like, so the first half is looking backwards, mostly the past or our current circumstances. And the second half is to look into the future. because when you bring this together, then it becomes really powerful, to be able to appreciate the past and present, and to be able to aspire and look towards the future, which I think is really wonderful, because that gives us the motivation and the momentum, and also give us a kind of direction. And what do I want to do with this precious human life of mine? Now that I see its value, and now that I appreciate it, what would I want to make of it? It doesn't have to be something grand or heroic. Like I always tell myself, even though in the mind, in my fantasy, most people's fantasy, look at all these superheroes movies that Hollywood churn out. It's pretty lucrative. Clearly, it has a market. People do like to go into the cinema, and at least for 1.5 or 2 hours, to forget themselves, and with heroes flying here and there, with special powers and mutants and whatever not. And it's quite entertaining. The fact it may speak to something deep within us. Yeah. Our kind of a worship of heroes. But in this topic, we don't have to be heroes. We can be just an ordinary person, and still we can live a very meaningful, purposeful, very life. One that we ourselves can appreciate, and we ourselves find deeply significant and meaningful. So this is the second part of the meditation, is to ask ourselves, what do I want to do with this precious human life of mine? Maybe you already know. Then wonderful, you have found your passions. Then this is just for you to affirm those passions, and maybe not. Then this might be a good opportunity to think, what do I want to do? In some occasion, people think of it as writing their own bucket list. Before you kick the bucket, what are the things that you like to tick off in your life? And everybody's bucket list is different. There's no one thing that you must do or have to do. But nonetheless, whatever you put there clearly means something to you. It's very personal, actually, also unique yet. And it stands for something for you. And when you're able to take it off, there's a sense of accomplishment. And there's a wonderful sense of, hey, this life is of mine. It's very meaningful to myself, or very purposeful to myself. Wouldn't it be nice at the end of this life that we can look back and we say, gee, I haven't done so bad after all. Years ago, I remember there's this interview of the Dalai Lama by Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah asked the Dalai Lama, do you have any regrets in your life? I mean, His Holiness have answered this question differently on a different occasion. But in this particular occasion, he thought a while about it, and he said, no, I don't have any regrets. And apparently Oprah was pretty taken back by an answer like this, to look at your life and be able to say, no, I don't have any regrets, which is a wonderful thing. You have a very clear conscience. You have almost like you're saying, at any moment and everything and every choices, I have done my best. This is what the best I can do at that moment. Of course, with hindsight, we always know better, but at that moment, you have given your best. And so you have no regrets. And it's not a bad way to live one's life, you think? I definitely cannot say I have no regrets. I probably have full of regrets. One of my old stories I always tell people about my regrets is, again, back to this, my 7-year master program that I went to study. And I was so enthusiastic, I quit my job, I chucked my career, and I decided, this is it. This is what I'm going to do with my life. This is my passion. In fact, I was so enthusiastic that I submit my resignation a little bit early, because I want to be there right at the first day of the course start. And this, I'm probably the same as in Australia. I was in Singapore back then. To get the bonus, the year-end bonus, you need to at least submit your resignation after a certain date, like after 31st of January, so that then they will count that whole year of employment. And it was $10,000. and I can still remember it. I gave up $10,000 in order to arrive on time to start this program. And already at the end of the first month, I thought to myself, gee, I could have come 1 month late and I would still be quite all right. And then I would have $10,000. And then especially at times when money is a bit running low, I was overseas, I was not really earning income. I thought, I really can do with that $10,000. But many things, it was quite funny. I keep going for quite a few years. Yeah. I mean, now I would tell it as a joke. But back then it wasn't much of a joke. I was genuinely regretting, So we all have regrets. This is mine. This is pretty minor in a sense. But the point is not to say that. I mean, it would be an exceptional life to live with no regrets. It's pretty ordinary to have some regrets. Big one, small one. After all, we are only ordinary. But in spite of those, it would be really nice to know that at a different important point in life, that we do our best, we make our best choice, and we pursue something that is really important to us. And we look back, we say, yeah, it is something, it is a very meaningful life. It is a life that I have make something out of it. Now, it doesn't have to be very grand, as I said. I don't know whether you guys know of my secret. The secret of happiness is to always start from a low standard. Okay? I know these days people say you must have a high standard and aim high. I discover, no, that's just rubbish. The secret is start. You do need a direction, of course. But at any point of way, you just start with a lower standard. So a goal that is of a lower standard that you can accomplish. And once you accomplish it, you think, gee, I have done it. Then you can set yet another goal. You can then raise your standard. And I think it's wonderful. It's a path for going from happiness to happiness and more happiness, isn't it? The other one is terrible. You set we have very high expectation. You set a very high standard. Of course, you can't make it right at the beginning. So what do? You have to lower your standard. Isn't it anything more miserable than this to say, I have failed. I failed to meet my high expectation. And I have to lower it. And then you have to lower it again. Because the first time you didn't lower it low enough. So that would be a path of going from misery to more misery and yet more misery. Right? I'm just joking. But think of it this way. So if in whichever context we are talking about, we set all these different little goals. You may not even call it goals. It's just things that you want to do, right? And you accomplish it, and then you set another one, you accomplish it. In itself, is a wonderful thing. Each episode, each so-called project, each goal is wonderful, and especially if they all somehow are lined up in a not in a straight line, but in the same general direction that you really aspire for your life to go. There's something in the distance that you aspire for, that motivates you, that attracts you. Could be knitting an entire sweater all by yourself. It is an accomplishment which I have not yet undertaken. I thought, gee, I would be so bored counting the number of stitches. And then after that, I would have to put them all together and then to find that it doesn't fit. So I just knit beanies. I don't know, I have very low standard. I just knit beanies. I really, and especially when I shave my head, it gets cold, you lose a lot of heat. So a beanie is very practical. Yeah. So that is my low standard accomplishment. I can knit beanies. That's the only thing I need. I wouldn't knit scarf because I thought it was also pretty boring. Just going back and forth. Just for one big whole long length, I just got to buy one. But beanie is at least there's some skill involved and pattern involved, and there's some accomplishment at the end of it when you put on your head and people say, "Oh, that is a very nice beanie. Where do you got it?" Say, "I knit it myself." Yeah. So that's how low my standard is. Okay, but and I find that doesn't matter because I'm not here to seek others' approval. I don't need other people's good opinions about this. No. But what is more important is what I myself feel towards it. And I say, oh, it's something that I want to do, and I managed to do it. Right. So this next meditation, I will probably a shorter one. I will invite you to ask yourself this question: what do I want to? What do I want to do with this precious human life of mine? What do I want to do with my precious human life? It's a very open question. No, you can answer it in any way you want. And this is again a technique that I find very helpful for myself. I use a guiding question. What do I want to do with my precious human life? At different days I do this meditation, I get a different answer, which is perfectly fine. This is just exploratory. And when days where I get easily distracted, I always can bring my attention back to the question. Ask myself the question again and start from there. Some days we get very kind of, our mind's all over the place, no problem. When you recognize it, you just, I just come back to the question, what do I want to do with my precious human life? And then explore it and see what sort of answers come up. It's quite fascinating. Different days you might come up with different answers. Some answers pretty small, like my knitting a beanie. It's a bit like listing up your bucket list, so to speak. But instead of a list, I use a question to guide your attention and for you to see what comes up. Traditionally, there are 3 areas you can think about. You don't have to follow this, but this is just a guideline. It asks us to think about our temporary goals. Of course, then there is the ultimate goal, and then there is the what they call a moment-to-moment goal, so to speak. So the first is to appreciate the temporary goals that we can aspire for, accomplish. I mean, this is Buddhism. This temporary is not so temporary. Like it extends to this life and the next life. Where or what you want to accomplish, with your life, or this life or the next life. Buddhist view is a bit long in a sense. This long, extra long retirement plan that not only include the end of this life but the next life. So this is temporary. This is what happens. Because then there is also a question of what is my ultimate goal. So what? Because the Buddhist idea is we are constantly cycling from one lifetime to another, one life to another. And in the Buddhist context, this is kind of a meaningless cycling. It's not like we're not going from better to better. We're just kind of meandering around, wandering around from one existence to another. So it also, in the view of that, he asks, what would be my ultimate goal? What do I really, a final goal aspire towards? And the third thing we ask of ourselves is, from one moment to another, it's really down, right back to the present moment, from one moment to the next moment, what will I want to accomplish with that? Because no matter how grandiose your goal is and how fantastic your goal is, we all can only accomplish it one step at a time, one moment at a time. So these are the 3 areas that you might want to think about, just as a guide. I usually don't. I just drop the question in and just see what comes up. And some goals, some days can be really mundane. And other days, I can have a big long list of things, like a big long bucket list. And other days, other session, I just have one. And no matter how many times I ask the question, it just come back to that one thing that is really important to me, that I really want to accomplish, that I really aspire towards in this life, what I want to do with this life of mine. And so there is a range of possibilities. Sounds okay? Does it make sense? So what do I want to do with my precious human life? Let me see. Positive energy emerge, and what you have, who you are, is precious. Very good. But now, what do you want to do with your precious positive energy? Is what you're going to find out. You don't have to tell me. All right? I won't ask you. I promise. Yeah. It's all private and secret. Yeah. Okay, so I invite you to settle back in a comfortable meditation posture once again. In fact, the most important aspect of the posture really is the back, the spine, to make sure that the posture supports the position of your spine in a natural way. It doesn't introduce unnecessary pain or discomfort, especially into your back, especially the neck and the lower back, the two more vulnerable areas of section of the spine. So feel free to sit upright or lie down on your back. Rest your hands and arms on some physical support. Leave the eyes open or closed, depending on which suits you. So I'm going to ring the bell to signal the start of this meditation. I find that usually it's good to take a few minutes, even if we are short on time, to just allow the body and mind the space, the time to adjust, to shift gears. And we can help them by, in this case, start with attending to the sensations of our own breath, our breath sensations. So let's start with a few deep breaths. Just breathe in and out for a few times. Allow the breath to settle back to its natural rhythm. Surrender our breath back to the body. Allow it to breathe itself. We don't have to control the breath. And for the first few minutes, see if we can just rest our attention on the breath sensations throughout the body, such that we fully experience the in-breath and the out-breath. Experiencing the breath sensations in the different parts of our body, see if we can give special attention to your natural out-breath. Breathing out. In our mind, we can even say the word release, which is a magic word. Breathing out is when we release the stale air in our lungs, the carbon dioxide. We can also release other things that are unnecessary or unwanted or unhelpful. Breathing out, maybe some of the tension and tightness in the different parts of the body that are not needed. Maybe some of those tensions may flow away with the breath and start to unwind and loosen up. Breathing out, maybe some of the thoughts or images or memories or fantasies that preoccupy our mind, maybe some of them can also flow away with the out breath. So for the first few minutes, see if you can very gently invite your attention to come back here and now, to attend to the breath sensations. And on the out breath, with the word release, see if you can deepen the sense of release. So see if we can, when we notice that attention is distracted elsewhere or involved in some inner dialogue or conversations, just invite our attention to put that aside and come back here and now, come back to the breath sensations. And on the out breath, remind ourselves, remind our own system that it can release. You can let go of unnecessary contractions and tightness. You can set aside thoughts or concerns not related to the meditation. A good place to begin or to deepen physical release is actually at our own face. So often we will unconsciously tighten certain muscles of the face, our habits. Some of us may tense up the muscles of the forehead, others may unconsciously clench the jaw, and still others may tighten the muscles around the eyes. So now is a good opportunity as we breathe out to see if we can consciously persuade those muscles to relax. Let into our own face a different feeling, a feeling of softness, of ease and comfort. Putting aside the breath, let's turn our attention to the guiding question. What do I want to do with my precious human life? What do I want to do with my precious human life? Drop the question into your own mind and heart and listen. Listen to the echo or whatever comes forth. Sometimes we may have to be patient, other times we can help the mind along, get the ball rolling, offer some suggestions. Maybe I really want to be a billionaire. Who knows? Maybe I want to own X number of properties. After all, this is Sydney. And offer some suggestions. But most importantly, listen to your own heart and mind. What do I really want to do with my precious human life? Ask the question, dwell on the ideas or images that come forth for as long or as short as you like. Make a list of the different items that come forth. The list can be long, or can be very short, or can be just one single item. Does not matter. Simply ask yourself the question slowly, mindfully, again and again. What do I want to do with my precious human life? Now and then, If we do feel a bit lost or confused, if we recognize that we are distracted or drifting to sleep, simply invite our attention to come back here and now and ask ourselves the question once again: what do I want to do with my precious human life? Coming back to the question, what we are asking in a way is for our own aspirations, our own aspirations for ourselves, aspirations that can be very small, can be very big, aspirations that sort of set the direction, channel our energy, shift our perspective, and allow us to set mini goals along the way if we want to, or just guide our energy, our attention in some general direction. So see if we can ask ourselves the question, what do I want to do with my precious human life? So coming back to your guiding question, what do I want to do with my precious human life? Remember, you can always consider it from different angles, different aspects. You can think of temporary goals. You can also think in terms of your ultimate and final goals. You can even consider from one moment to another, what will you want to do? How you want to spend your time, your energy, all which are limited in this limited time that we all have on earth with this precious human life of ours. Yeah. And then to conclude this short reflection and meditation, imagine gathering up all the positive momentum we have created this morning through meditation, through reflection. Imagine it as some kind of energy, some kind of momentum that we gather up. And now we take this opportunity to direct that energy, to give a direction to that momentum. Dedicate it in your own way towards the fulfillment of your own aspirations, towards the fulfillment of your own goals. Dedicate it towards the goal of for you to make full use of your precious human life, to accomplish what is most meaningful and significant for yourself. So let's take a few moments in silence and do our own dedication. Also good to think to ourselves, we dedicate that may anything good and positive that come out of our practice, may all of this stay with us, may it linger in our own body, mind and heart, so that it can continue to benefit us long after the meditation is over. Okay, so this is the way we meditate on a classic topic in Buddhist teaching. We call it a joyous appreciation of our precious human life. Hopefully it's joyous, I don't know, maybe it's not so joyous. And this is a topic that comes very early in a particular, when presenting different important topics in Buddhism. This topic comes very early, at least within the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, because I think it's really important to start with a very positive regard of ourselves, of our life, or what we have. And if you have that positive regard, then you come to see, oh, maybe I can do something with it, which comes all the rest of the different teachings and techniques and practices, of what to do with this life. If you start off already thinking that, oh, well, this is it, I'm just waiting to die, then of course you are not going to make any effort to change. You will not make any effort to explore other possibilities. So there is a very good reason why it comes very early on in the presentation of the Buddha's teaching. And hopefully you can appreciate its value to do a reflection like this and the kind of impact it could have on ourselves. Okay, so that's it for morning session. And we're going to have a lunch break and I start again at 1 o'clock. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you.